Siana said there were only 3 days left until the birthday banquet. It's impossible for the prince to change in such a short time. That's just who Prince Rassies is. The queen understood what Siana was trying to say. Then Siana said, I dare say my opinion. Your Majesty, how about canceling the prince's birthday banquet and moving it to next year? The queen looked worried and scared. She said, if I don't show Rassies to the people this time as well, then he might not be acknowledged as a prince. If his father hears of this, how would he react? By the way, if you haven't watched the previous episodes yet, please be sure to catch up on those first. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. She pondered why she felt so weak. Suddenly, another maid came running and said, Your Majesty, Count Wilhelm is asking to be permitted to enter the palace. The queen's father was being blocked by a few maids. He said, How dare you try to block the queen's father? Move away. The queen came near him. Father angrily shouted, How dare you do something like this during such an important time? He opened the door and asked, Where are you keeping Rassies? The queen pondered. I couldn't leave Rassies, who looked like he was in pain, alone in the estate. Instead, I put in the effort to bring him to the palace. Thanks to the capable maid, his condition has been much better. I'm certain father will also be happy. Then Queen said, Wait a minute, father, please listen to me. I thought of many things while I was away from the capital about what we should do if we can't find a way. Perhaps we can cancel the birthday banquet, saying he's sick, or if that doesn't work, we could say the prince has died in an accident. Father said, I will just say that he's my grandchild. I wouldn't do anything with my own hands. It's a relief that I don't have to worry about such things anymore. Don't worry, daughter. I found a way to make Rassies normal. A magician. If we use magic to manipulate people until the banquet, we might be able to deceive the eyes of the people. In the end, this is our only option. To fit the standard that other people have of being normal, it is the only option left. Just until the birthday banquet, as a temporary measure, we can continue the education after. I'll be able to protect our house, my honor, and Prince Rassies. The queen, with a worried face, said, Don't do this. Father, no more. Not anymore. I am unwilling to do something so horrible to Rassies. Father said, You idiot. You're still saying something like that. This is the reality at hand. Father said, I'm not compelled to use something as shallow as magic either. Then he looked at Rassies, who was painting. Father entered the room forcefully, saying, Don't say such stupid things. The queen grabbed his leg from behind and said, Father, please, if something bad happens to Rassies. Father didn't listen to her and said, Move, and kicked her. He dragged Rassies out, saying, Follow me. Rassies, clueless and shocked, looked at his mother and cried, Mother! The queen pondered the role of a self-determined child and an obedient daughter. To become the perfect lady, for survival, she had held her breath, shut her mouth, and spent her days in silence. She also remembered how her father brought her the best marriage candidate without her choice. At that time, she was afraid and wanted someone to help her. Then she thought, which is why, at the very least, I will protect my child to the best of my abilities. Then she shouted, Get your hands off Rassies at once. She said angrily, Don't even think about taking him away anymore. Rassies will be with me from now on, and pulled Rassies to her back to protect him. Father said, And you call yourself a queen. I was too polite with you. Just because you wear the crown, do you think that doesn't make you my daughter anymore? You are my daughter, and this is my grandson. I'm trying to protect the family. You dare consider not being obedient, yet you rebel. He was going to beat her, saying, How dare you? At that moment, Siana came with a guard and said, An intruder is attacking the queen and the prince. Father was shocked and said, What the hell are you doing? Don't you know who I am? Siana took care of the queen and asked, Are you all right? Father said, Angelina, why are you just staring? These people are dragging your father out. But she said, Take the criminal to jail. They dragged him into the prison. He shouted, How dare you imprison me here? Do you think this news won't spread? My daughter is the empress of this empire. You're all crazy if you think you won't be punished for this. Then he threatened, To those soldiers, that wicked maid, and my daughter who brought such disgrace upon me, I will never let you go. At that moment, Siana arrived. He assumed she had come to ask for forgiveness. Father asked Siana, Are you here to ask for forgiveness now? It's no use. The price for this insult will be high. Siana replied, I did not come to ask for forgiveness, but to convey the words of Her Highness. The scene then shifts back to a few moments earlier. The queen thanked Siana and asked how she managed the situation. Siana explained, Because the Marquis was in an unusual mood. I had guards on standby in advance. They arrived immediately when they heard that a strange man was threatening Her Highness. The Marquis was caught red-handed and is now in temporary custody. Then Siana asked, Your Highness, what would you like to do now? The queen replied, I won't let my father manipulate me any longer, even for the sake of Rassies. He will not come to the palace until I give permission. She continued, As for Rassies, I will continue to raise him, so please know that. Thank you for everything you've done. Father pondered why she sent a maid to face him and inflict such humiliation upon him. The Marquis ordered, Siana, bring my daughter here now. Siana replied, no, she was your daughter, but now she's the Empress. Her Highness is the wife of His Majesty, the most respected emperor in the empire. She is the mother of His Majesty, the Crown Prince. Threatening her would be akin to putting a sword to the throne. Marquis Wilhelm, shocked, said, what nonsense are you saying? Siana responded, unless you want to bear the burden of treason, it would be wise to follow Her Highness's orders. This will be your last chance. It would be better to follow the message from Her Highness. This will be your last chance, he conceded. I get it. I'll accept any request. Siana handed him a document and said, can you prove it to me? He asked. What is this? She replied. A document to prove the Marquis's words. This means that from now on, you will not visit Her Highness without her permission, and you will not interfere excessively in the education of Prince Rasses. He got angry and said, how impudent. Do you know who I am? Siana responded, Marquis Wilhelm, you are still Her Highness's father. She handed him a pen. The Marquis thought, Angelina is weak and lacks brilliance. She wouldn't dare to push her father this far. Someone must have influenced her. As Siana was about to leave, the Marquis called her back and asked, did you wait for me to hit Angelina? She replied, Angelina didn't act in vain when she came to the palace. Then Siana left. The queen pondered about Rasses's birthday banquet, looking forward to presenting it to the people without his help and making him regret it. Siana said, Marquis Wilhelm has left the imperial palace. The queen said, I'm not the one who's going to die easily. You did a great job. Siana, this is not the end. Though we let him go. Now we need to prepare a banquet for the emperor without the Marquis's support. As for Rasses's birthday party, I'll just cancel it. I'll have to endure people's gaze and my father's anger. I have to protect my child. Siana accepted Her Highness's will. Prince Rasses's banquet was cancelled. A mysterious prince who had been weak since birth was said to be recuperating outside the palace. However, rumors spread that he was a crazy prince who couldn't even speak and screamed, that he was sick and cursed by a witch. The other empress asked, how do you plan to stop these rumors? Empress Angelina, the longer the explanation is delayed, the harder it will be to stop them, since even we who are trying to help don't know anything about the prince. We have no choice but to keep asking, right? Show us Prince Rasses. Settlement comes after that. Angelina said, all right, but please do not be rude even if my child looks a little different from his peers. She then brought them to the prince's room, where he was painting silently. She said, as you can see, my son is not crazy, he's just a little special. They replied, if you thought that way, there would have been no need to cancel the banquet. Are you planning to hide the prince forever? Angelina responded, I don't intend to do that. When Rasses is ready, I will introduce him to the outside of the imperial palace. One empress said, this is an ideal answer, Empress Angelina, but you know this means you have abandoned your royal duties. This is no different from giving up the prince's right to succeed to the throne. Is this really your decision? Angelina said, yes, Rasses, and I just want to live happily. She looked at Rasses's painting, which was a beautiful portrait of her. One empress said, I understand what you mean. We'll take care of the rest. And they promised, no matter what Prince Rasses's condition is, no one can ridicule the noble emperor's bloodline. Everyone will keep their mouths shut. She thought this ended quietly, but in the next scene, people were gossiping in the party. Someone said, after all, he's a crazy prince, right? I knew it would happen. Ever since he wouldn't come out of the palace because he was sick. How could you hide something so big like this? If His Majesty the Emperor returns to the palace and finds out about this, Empress Angelina's position will be threatened. Siana reassured her, don't worry, Your Highness, that's not going to happen. In the current situation, the news would have definitely reached the emperor, who is recuperating. The fact that he hasn't said anything until now means he doesn't really care about this. Siana continued, one more thing. The number of servants and maids in the empress's palace remains the same, right? The gold coins and jewels sent from the Marquis every month have not decreased. This means that your family is still standing behind Your Highness. You don't want to be turned away from the Marquis. Soon, the rumors will die down. Angelina agreed and said, even though he doesn't love me, he loves the power of our family. Then she suddenly realized and said, oh my god, I'm dragging you into my problems again. Let me thank you formally, Siana. Thank you for helping me. Thanks to you, I was able to achieve more than I expected. As promised, I will grant everything you asked for. Siana, blushing with happiness, said, thank you, Your Highness. And thus, this chapter draws to a close. Stay tuned to discover what unfolds next in the story. In the meantime, why not explore my other videos? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories. Your support means the world to me.